We're used to uncertainty, rates, rules, headlines, markets shifting. That part honestly doesn't even bother most agents anymore because at this point, we're used to that. What's actually unsettling right now is something else. It's a leadership gap. Now, when nobody actually knows what's next, that's a leader's time to shine, to step into a mess and say, look, I don't know, but we're going to figure this out together. Or I disagree, but this is what we believe. This is what we know today. We're going to figure this out in real time together. It's a time and an opportunity to bond together. And if you're an agent, you can feel it. You're not just navigating a weird market anymore. Some of you are navigating a new era alone. So today, I want to talk to the agents, my peers, my colleagues, about what happens when an entire industry loses predictive capability and why your environment is the make or break factor in this new low predictability era. Because you might be used to the uncertainty, but that does not mean you have to build alone. All right, let's get into this. Welcome to Renovating Real Estate. I'm Sandy McMaster, your host. Each week here we renovate the way real estate operators, you fabulous, good-looking people, think, decide, and execute. And we do that using the identity ops method because most operators never operationalize what truly makes them different. But we can change that. Today, we are talking solely to my agent friends, and we're talking about the most dangerous phrase in real estate right now, which is, we're used to that. Because there's a version of that that is very true and useful to agents right now. And then there's another version that will quietly ruin your next 12 to 24 months. It's a little extreme, I know, but it's how I feel. So let's start with the truth side. Right now, the floor of our industry feels a little bit like sand. It keeps moving. The market is volatile. The headlines change quite literally by the hour. And old patterns, they're just not holding. And for a lot of agents, the most disorienting part isn't even the uncertainty. It's that nobody's steering the ship. I understand why. And I don't think this is any kind of moral failure on any particular person's part. I think it's a capability failure. Collectively, association execs, owners, brokers, team leads, a lot of the industry has just completely lost the predictive capability. So I have deep empathy and deep understanding, but this is different. It's not in the casual sense of rates might go up or down. I mean, in a much deeper sense. It's this kind of stability that used to make real estate feel like there was at least a floor. There was at least a floor we could rely upon and stand firmly upon. Today, like I said at the beginning, it feels a little bit more like shifting sand. And I think there's like three basic emotional responses going on to that right now. Some people are mourning it. They're just really, really, really sad. Some people are raging against it. Not sure how useful that is, but some people can do that. And some people, they just don't know any different. This is just normal to them. And honestly, all of it is completely understandable. But here's what becomes dangerous. is when industry voices respond with empty optimism or opinion-less talking points or ego-driven certainty or my personal trigger, they say nothing at all. Because when leaders go quiet, agents are left alone. They are left alone, call it in a fog. No frame, no clarity, no real guidance. And that's when an agent's spidey sense wakes right up. Listen, they're used to low-grade loneliness that every solopreneur in any kind of industry seat feels. And you know what agents do when nobody leads? They do what they've always done. They figure it out. They don't wait for conditions to improve. They don't outsource their confidence to a portal, a corporate talking head, or a trend they don't understand. They don't borrow certainty they have not earned. Instead, they double down on themselves because we're used to that. And in a weird, really weird way, that's one of the most admirable things about this profession. To be an agent, it means you placed a bet on yourself from day one. Look, that's a kind of faith that is not shaken easily. So if you're in a season where the market feels chaotic and you're thinking, I guess I have to just grind harder or muscle through, hear this. You can. You're actually built for it. But I would like to offer you a sharper frame because this environment, it just might be the environment you wanted and didn't know you needed. Uncertain, unclear, uncharted are perfect conditions for someone just like you. But here's the thing. Just because you're used to that feeling doesn't mean it's healthy to normalize it. And this is where this episode is going to turn a little bit. Because we shouldn't be used to building in total isolation. In a low predictability era, your environment becomes critical. And it might be fine enough to ride solo from your home office, but you don't have to. There are others like you, others who also bet on themselves. Some are near you, some are in your market, some you have not even met yet. And they're not always loud, but they're not complaining, rage baiting, or frozen in fear. They're likely quietly building, and they're building their own fortress of solitude. And that's not just a personality preference, it's a strategy. Because who you're surrounded by will affect your instincts. Whether you mean for it to or not, it will. It will shape what you normalize, what you tolerate, and what you start calling good enough. And eventually, it shapes the kind of agent you ultimately become. So let's just slow down a little bit here, because this is where a lot of agents accidentally lose a year or two, or in my case, a decade, by accepting a status quo, accepting the environment, accepting the standards, and then you might spend the next 12 to 24 months reacting versus actually building smart. the next headline may not give you something solid to stand upon. So here's an uncomfortable truth. If you don't choose your people and your standards on purpose, your environment will choose them for you. It's kind of like by default or design. Hot tip to Robert Glacier right there. So let me ask you the question that matters today, right now. Who's shaping you? Is your environment building business owners or performers, leaders or followers? Does it teach thinking or scripts? Does it reward truth or ego? Call it vanity metrics. Because if you're honest, you already know. You can feel it. You can feel whether you're getting sharper or not. You can feel whether you're becoming more grounded or more reactive. Led or less clear. Let me put it that way. And I think this is why the identity-based operators come through eras like this one stronger. Not because they have extra mojo, but because they have real infrastructure. They have clear standards, confidence built on proof, and tight operations. That, my friends, is having a business identity. And here's why that matters. It's the only predictive capability you control today. You can't control the market, you can't control the headlines, you can't control the Fed, but you can control your posture, your position, your standards, your decision making, your operating system. And when those kinds of things are clear, you become much harder to shake. You interpret reality quickly and clearly. You can communicate risk honestly. You guide clients through uncertainty without pretending you have some kind of magic crystal ball. You stop performing certainty and you start operating with clarity. So yeah, chaos, ooh, it is here. And that is okay, because guess what? We're used to that. But the question is not who's leading or when will it calm down. The question is, who will you become while it doesn't? And I'll give you one very practical way to sort of bring this home today. Just run your own quick environment audit. Look around, pick your head up, and ask yourself, what do I hear every day? What do I repeat every day? That can be activities, that could be what you think between your own two ears. What do you repeat every day? What am I encouraged to value in my environment? Is that turning me into the agent I want to be? Or the agent my environment produces by default? Oh, remember, default or design, my friends. It's an important fork in the road, because your environment is a training ground. And right now, the difference between a business owner and a performer might be nothing more than what you normalize. So no, don't build alone. Choose your people, choose your standards, choose your operating system, because in a low predictability era, the most powerful thing you can build is a clear identity. That's the edge. That's the upgrade. That's what lasts. So if you're feeling the fog right now, my friends, I want you to know two things can be true. One, yeah, you are capable of figuring it out, going it alone. But number two, you don't have to. And if you take nothing else from this episode, take this. The standard you accept becomes the life you live. So what kind of life do you want to live? Build that. Choose your standards on purpose, my friends. I will cap it there. If this episode kind of feels like a hug, the hug you needed when you're used to handshakes, the simplest way to help is a rating or a review. It takes 10 seconds, helps more than you think. And if you want the operating system, that is what Identity Ops is for. You can find that at identityops.co. Until next week.